In the past, the US hasn't been a big fan of offshore wind energy, but the winds, they are a-changin'. Whoa, 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 whoa! Hello, and welcome back to another Good News Minute. I'm Andrew Grandal, and today we're taking a look at some encouraging news in offshore wind energy in the US. It's no big secret that the United States has lagged behind other parts of the world, such as Europe, when it comes to offshore wind generation. The US didn't have a single commercial offshore wind farm until the Block Island wind farm opened off the coast of Rhode Island in December of 2016. But not even 2 years later, offshore wind prospects for the eastern US are looking very, very different. Last year, New Jersey elected a new governor, Phil Murphy. Thus far, Governor Murphy has been making good on the environmental promises he made during his campaign, pushing for unprecedented amounts of offshore wind generation in the Atlantic waters of the Garden State. On September 17th, the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, or BPU, opened a solicitation for 1,100 megawatts of offshore wind capacity, the largest request of its kind in the country. The BPU plans to choose an applicant to build the project by mid-2019. Additionally, Governor Murphy has requested solicitations for 2 more 1,200 megawatt offshore wind projects to begin in 2020 and 2022 respectively. New Jersey is working towards a goal of 3,500 megawatts of offshore wind capacity by 2030, which is enough to power well over 500,000 homes. But these projects have benefits other than the immediately obvious one of more renewable generation. As the US has struggled to lower the costs and make economic arguments for offshore wind, projects such as this one carve out a path for future offshore endeavors by helping to further supply chain development and establish economies of scale for other offshore ventures to build off of moving forward. And in a surprising twist, as opposed to most other forms of renewable energy, the Trump administration seems to actually be in support of the offshore wind development. Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke wrote an op-ed this April in the Boston Globe in support of leasing large areas of federal land off of the coast of Massachusetts for wind development. Can't say we saw that one coming, but we'll definitely take it. The US Department of Energy predicts around 22,000 megawatts of offshore wind capacity will be installed in American waters by 2030. And the technologies behind the offshore wind revolution are improving in efficiency and decreasing in cost quicker than expected. It's quite evident that a decade from now, energy generation along the east coast of the US will look very different than today. And if you're wondering why you don't often hear about West Coast offshore wind, we made a podcast episode about that exact topic. Link in the description. The winds are definitely shifting around offshore wind generation in the US, and we're excited to see this bountiful, clean energy resource finally being tapped into to the benefit of the environment, public health, and local economies. For our sponsor, Climbable.org, I'm Andrew Grandal. Thanks so much for joining us for another Good News Minute, where the forecast is always positive.